Today I spoke with Fons Herder. He's in the Netherlands and he's a member of a band who plays guitar and sings, and the band is called A Liquid Landscape. They are amazing. They have a third album that just came out. I did a review of it. You can check the review up there. I want everyone to learn about this band. They are fantastic. So how did your gig go?
Yeah. We had an old school release party.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We did a double headlining show with Christopher Gildenlow. We headlined in our hometown in Groningen, and then the night after, Chris headlined.
I'm not
This
familiar with Chris. What kind of music does Chris do?
it's prog music.
Oh,
Prog.
okay.
I'd say he's prog. He's actually the brother of Daniel Gildenlow from Pain of Salvation. Don't
Oh,
know if you
okay.
know the band.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I do Painful Salvation. Yep.
Swedish prog.
Yeah, yeah. I did a review of your album. I hadn't heard of your band before, so I just really digged your new album. Haven't heard your older stuff at all, actually. I'm looking forward to digging into that. So you're a four-piece, and two of the guys in the band are brothers, right? There's two. You're the guitarist, vocalist. You,
Yes.
you got your drummer, and then you've got two brothers who do bass and guitar. The production is amazing. Like the guitars sound amazing. Everything about the recording is really well done. Did you
Thank you.
guys record it in the yourselves, or you went in the studio, or what was the story there?
Well, we actually did it ourselves, and when I say ourselves, Niels engineered and mixed the record. Basically taught himself how to do it while doing it.
Hmm.
I mean, there were some. I mean, we did with previous recordings, we started doing more and more in the studio ourselves, and well, this one we did all by ourselves.
Hmm.
And well, Niels Niels mixed and engineered it. He did an incredible job at it.
He
It's
did.
took Yeah, well, thank you. It was a process. It was definitely it took us a few years. And also we had the lockdown, so that really slowed things down and made us think like, yeah, okay, so let's take our time then.
Do you mean when you say years, as far as when you started writing it and then recording it, or did you literally start recording it and it just was a long process?
Well, both. A lot of it was on tape already, but we weren't happy with the guitar tones. I mean, drums sounded pretty decent, but the guitars weren't doing what we liked, so we planned on booking extra dates for that. But it also because our gear started changing and we started demanding more dynamics from the gear that we were using. Our previous records didn't really have the grungy parts that much. It was more was calmer, was more well more art rock, if you will. For this record, we felt we really needed to bring those guitars into the mix. Really, we had an urge, an
Mm.
itch that needed to be scratched. Uh, the rawness of those guitars. So, our gear started changing and the world started changing. We had
You're
the
referring to,
lockdown.
yeah, the lockdown, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is definitely a lockdown record, I think. Most of it was already on the record. It was already recorded, like as early as in, I think, 17 or 18. But we weren't really happy with the guitar tone, so we took more time. And then the lockdown happened, and the lyrics started evolving, and started taking more time in our studio. Because that was our tiny little world back then, and well, we churned out this
Yeah.
this planet.
Are you honing a vision down, or how are you feeling about it?
Well, I guess the vision has always been kind of the same, but we didn't really know how to get that on tape, and we didn't understand the dynamics fully, I think. And but I think in essence, I think the vision was the same. It's just we grew as musicians, and we learned how to use our gear better, so um, we could afford better gear also because we're all early 40s, so that also helped. We also took more time with it. I also think that that really helps. I mean, the base of the songs was already pretty decent, but then when we started, tweaking it in the studio, we really started getting that feeling like, oh man, this is going to be really good. This is our first vinyl, so we're very proud of that. there's also CDs for us old folk. I'm a CD collector myself. I don't know if you can see, but
Oh yeah, that's
there's
cool.
there's some CDs back there. Very 90s, 80s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's on vinyl and CD, and that's it for now. We don't really have any t-shirts because we're not really touring. Also, t-shirts are kind of weird. Takes a long time to sell them for a band like ours.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Uh,
But you do you do perform live.
well, at the moment, we're just starting again.
Uh-huh.
So we had two shows done now, and there's next week there's a festival here in the Netherlands called Midsummer Prague, and we're playing the pre-party for that. And then later in the year, and there's some shows coming up that are not confirmed yet, but there's some things coming, but not a lot. We're not really a touring band or anything. We've been doing this for a long time. We I met the two brothers in '97, I think it was, and then just a couple years later in '99, we decided, all right, we're going to be a band. So we've been doing this for a long time, and we just enjoy doing it a lot. And when we were younger, we would just play anywhere here in the Netherlands. We've seen every bar, every stage. I think we've played most of them. But yeah, we also don't really want to do that anymore. We're older now. The guys have kids, so that's not really a thing that we do anymore, which is fine. What we get in return is we get to play cool shows, like support cool bands. Like in the past, we've supported Pineapple Thief and Carnival even in our hometown. That was goosebumps thinking about that.
Cool. Yeah.
We get to do those shows, and that's very cool. Play some festivals here and there, but it's I don't know if we get to 10 shows a year, I think that's a lot.
And how do you approach songwriting? Is there one guy in the band who does most of the songwriting, or does everybody come with some parts or a whole song, or do you just jam in a room, or what's your process for making the music?
Well, it's a little bit of all of those things, I guess. I bring in some songs, but the things that I bring to the band, they do change because when the guys start playing, they play their own parts, and sometimes, it's kind of a collaborative effort, I guess. Niels and I write a lot, to get those guitars in sync. Not really one songwriter. It is a collaboration. I do write the lyrics myself, so that sometimes pushes a song towards a certain direction, and that can also be taken into the songwriting column. Then that I sometimes push it towards something because the words ask me to go that way.
You mentioned Nils, so you play guitar, Nils plays guitar. What kind of rigs do you guys got? Do you both use just like a pedal-based system, or do you guys heavily into old tube amps, or what kind of gear do you guys get into?
All of the above. Again,
Okay.
we do love a good tube amp. I haven't, but we use a kind of hybrid rig right now. Um, Friedman has these amazing IR pedals out that are basically tube preamps that you can hook up to a power amp, or you can, it does its own IR thing. So yeah, that's very cool. And we hook those up to our tube amps because we still use tube amps. We've always used tube amps. So yeah, it's kind of a hybrid in that sense.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
not really big fans of the whole digital era guitar modelers.
yeah.
But they are very functional.
Hmm.
Maybe in the future I'll have something like that. But I just really appreciate. I don't know. It's something that I'm used to. It's something that's loud on stage that we're used to. Also, our drummer hits very hard, so we kind of need we kind of need that wall.
What kind of influences do you all have as far as maybe even I guess a lot of us form our initial taste for
Mm.
music when we're like 10, 12 years old. That seems like a common age for when you're young, you get into music and
I was a music fan from a really young age. Uh, I don't know, I was 6 years old or something, seven maybe, when I really got a fascination for the Beatles. The
hmm
Beatles were just everything for me. And then I don't know if you can see, but this band came along, Nirvana.
Oh yeah,
It's the
yeah.
Unplugged in New York record, and that
Right.
changed everything for me because I because I don't know, I was 8 years old or something, 10 maybe when I first listened to it, and the Nevermind stuff Nirvana I found really scary because it was really loud. But this I really got the acoustic versions of the songs, and it really made it so approachable as well because I had an acoustic guitar. I could, learn how to play those songs. So that is definitely my number one record, if you will. But yeah, the different influences in the band they differ. Like I said, our drummer's a DJ, so he's all over the place. He's all over the spectrum. Right now, I'm not really listening to rock music that much anymore. I sort of in my soft rock era. Um, but yeah, it varies. It really varies. We
Yeah.
we all used to be major Tool fans, but I still think Tool is really cool. But I have a different. I need more. I need more. There was a time when I listened to Tool so much it was just almost unbearable for the people around me.
How did that happen that where a song has a part one, part two twice on your album? How did you end up doing that? What was the circumstances?
Well, for Raven Song, it was really like that is one of those songs that came from a jam mostly. But yeah, because it starts where it starts, we kind of felt like it needed a kind of, a kind of something to lift it up, something to really, clear the mood to really get to the da, da, dum, dum, to really get to that.
Hmm.
So in a sense, it already kind of felt like it was halfway song, but uh, yeah. So that's basically an intro, Raven Song Part One, and then Raven Song Part Two is uh, well, Part Two, Part Two, obviously.
Right. Oh, I
Um,
see. That's sort of opposite what I thought would have thought. I kind of thought maybe part one was the main chorus, and then part two was sort of like just sort of a more meditative version or something.
the second one came first. That's for that what
Yeah,
happened there.
yeah.
And for Few and Far Between Part One and Two, the first one came first, but we also had an idea for what is now Part Two. Kind of the energy also didn't feel resolved in the first part, and then when we basically only had those two songs, so we played them all the time together, and I think that's how they sort of came interlocked together. And but musically there's not a lot of overlap. It's more like lyrically where the first part is more about like a warning for Armageddon, and the second one is like a warning for let's and nobody seems to see, kind of more introspective.
Mm. I think artists are sensitive in some ways that would you agree? I mean, we as artists who
Mm,
are kind of, I don't know, just sensitive to the temperature of the world in a metaphorical way. When you're writing a song, you need to kind of tap into that and add something that'll kind of bring some healing to it or reflect what's going
yeah.
on and try to amplify it or
Also on stage, you kind of have to feel the room to know what it needs, if that makes sense. You kind of have to feel the room to know the things you can say in a microphone in between songs. You have to feel the room, and give them the energy that they're looking for or that they don't know they're looking for, but you're giving it to them. So also you have to feel there.
hmm
I think that is we are feelers,
hmm
right?
yeah.
You know, and it's not only for making the music, but we are feelers in our everyday lives as well.
hmm That's an interesting point too, because I've been in both positions where I've been in a band where I didn't sing, so I just was on stage, and then other positions where I am the focal attention, and
Yeah.
I'm conscious of what I say, and I have to kind of relate. I can't ignore the audience. That's interesting,
Hmm.
a role that you play in the band because you got
Yeah.
the microphone there mostly. that you have to kind of feel the room and all that. Yeah, that's a bit more of a responsibility too. Do you
Yeah.
enjoy that responsibility in the band, or do you find it a bit of a burden sometimes?
I mean, a burden is a little much, I think, but it
Hmm.
is tricky. It does add a little spice to how you feel because if you're having a rough day, if you're, I don't know, you stubbed your toe or something, I don't know, something happened, and you're just not in the mood. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
you have to be in the mood. As a bass player, you can just turn around and drink, take a sip from your beer, but as a vocalist, it's kind of expected that you entertain. So yeah, it
yeah.
can be rough.
Mm-hmm.
The first release show was definitely rough. I was at a loss for words. I didn't even know what to say. It was they really had. I mean, I really had to pull the words out. It was really rough.
Mm.
Second night was better. But yeah,
I'm sure it seemed rough to you more than the audience. They probably wouldn't have even
uh,
noticed, but
no, probably not. No, no, no.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
our sound engineer tells us that all the time.
yeah, yeah. Cool. So,
Yeah.
do you really feed off of, obviously you're going to have some good nights and bad nights for sure. Um,
Mm.
but in general, do you really love to perform live, or how do you feel about doing the live shows? Obviously you enjoy playing with the band, you're playing, you rehearse and whatnot and spend all that
Hmm.
time. How big a part of it is it to go out and play for people, for you?
Well, it means a lot to us. I and we really missed it. Um, there were times when we were, when we played a lot more, when we did, I don't know how many shows a year. We had times where we did 50, maybe 60 shows a year. And then there are, those times sometimes you think, oh man, another one.
Hmm.
It really, but right now, because we haven't been doing it for a long time, we are very hungry.
Yeah.
We we were we were pretty rough on stage. Uh, as in we threw our guitars about quite a bit at the first release show. Our drummer was like, maybe maybe tone it down a bit. Maybe play the songs. Yeah, yeah, but you know, it felt really good. We had a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah. What haven't we talked about yet? Is there something that that you would
Um,
want to talk about that we haven't talked about yet?
Maybe the artwork for the vinyl
Sure.
was kind of a cool process. I don't want to ruin too much of the magic, but basically, what I created the art with a friend of mine, Lex Visser, and he used to be a video artist. He's now doing other things, but he always made the videos for our music. What we did is we went kit bashing. I don't know if you know what that means, but like how the Star Wars models are made, all glued together with tiny little bits and plastic things, and then spray paint them and put them on a stage like miniatures.
Right.
We basically built a planet in the garage of his parents, and we took some photos, and that's
Oh,
what that is.
really? Okay, I'm gonna flash it on
Yeah,
the screen later and post.
yeah. Everything you see is in camera.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
there's some post production, sure, but
Yeah.
it's all in camera, and
Yeah.
there's something really that you can almost touch it because you can. That's so yeah, that's it really works for this record,
Oh, cool.
I think.
So what sparked the idea of doing that?
What usually sparks these things is just me and Lex talking and having a beer and being like, oh, well, uh, if the album's called Rogue Planet, maybe we should build a planet and take
Cool.
photos.
Cool.
So and then he just workshopped some things, and then we set a few dates, and then we built something. It's kind of how we always. I mean, we never did it like this, but our other videos as well. We shot them on location.
Yeah, I do recall the one video. It's been a couple weeks since I've seen it, where you guys were kind of going up in an elevator and down a hallway, and then you end up in
Oh
a
yeah,
rehearsal room or something like that, and you're playing, and
yeah.
the camera's going around. That was a really cool video.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, he was also part of that, and also another good friend of ours, Thomas. He he edited that. That was Lex was helping out,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
he didn't direct that video. That was Thomas.
But I don't have any other questions at the top of my mind. We talked about the video. That was good. That was cool video. Talked about you playing live. Told you how much I love your album. It really is
Thanks again,
amazing.
man.
It is
Uh,
amazing.
we, we really appreciate it, man. That
Yeah.
we were yeah,
So
really cool
because
to have somebody on the other side of the planet basically to say these kind words about your music is
yeah.
we'll never stop to amaze us.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, I hope that we can send more people your way to check out your music. Really enjoyed talking to you, Fonz, and
Likewise, Dean.
yeah, and give my best to the other guys in the band.
Will
And
do.
we'll put links to your website and ordering your new LP.
Thanks, man.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. We'll talk again sometime.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
All the best up there in Canada.
Thank you.
Talk to you later.
All right.